What if optimizing your metabolism was the key to unlocking your best life? Welcome to the Life Possible podcast, where we bring you cutting-edge insights, real-life transformations, and powerful strategies to help you win the fight against obesity and metabolic disease. Join host Dr. John Barnes as he explores the science and stories of transformational metabolic health, because when you fuel your body right, you unlock your greatest potential. From leading experts in nutrition and wellness to inspiring success stories, this is your go-to resource for education, motivation, and empowerment on your journey to a healthier, more vibrant life. Your best life isn't just possible, it's within reach. Let's make it happen together. Here's your host, Dr. John Barnes.
Hey, Ideal Protein Nation. We're back again. Sorry for some dead air there. But like I said, we're trying to keep on track, and I've got some really great people to introduce you to. People not necessarily associated with Ideal Protein already, experts in their field that are going to be so helpful and inspiring for you while you're going on this journey to metabolic health. For those of you who are new to the Life Possible podcast, I just wanted to check in and tell you a little bit about the show. The Life Possible podcast spotlights people who have been successful using the Ideal Protein program to reset their body, reset their mind, and actually reset what's possible for their lives. Recently, I've also been interviewing experts in the keto, low carb, and metabolic health space who align with the values of the program that we teach in Ideal Protein. Who am I and why am I even doing this? Well, I tell you what, my name's Dr. John Barnes, and there's no easy way to put this. About 10 years ago, I found myself fat, sick, and depressed. And the worst part about it is I didn't see a way out, and I actually had given up. I truly believe that God brought me the Ideal Protein program as the answer to so many of my prayers, both personally and professionally. Now, instead of running a chiropractic practice, I run an Ideal Protein clinic. And I started this show to try to reach as many people as possible to help take them through the transformation that I've been through. Who do I have for you today? Oh, I'm so excited today. This one's been a work in progress here. I've got Jonathan Boulware. Jonathan is a lifestyle behavior change specialist for people who desire a new lifestyle to overcome obesity, but do not know what to do or where to start. Jonathan's battle with obesity began a few years after graduating from Stanford University and continued for years. In 2014, Jonathan watched his mother lose her life due to obesity. Ever since his mother's death, he's dedicated his life to understanding why it's so hard for people to change their lifestyle behavior and provide them with solutions. He founded You Take Control of It, a company dedicated to helping people build their personalized lifestyle change plan and to take control of their health. Jonathan is a certified personal trainer and health coach through the American Council on Exercise. He's a certified level 2 master coach through Precision Nutrition and has earned a specialty designation as a behavior change specialist from both ACE and the National Academy of Sports Medicine. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. In addition to that, he's created the 432 Playbook, a step-by-step program for lifestyle behavior change, and he's also self-published a book entitled Take Control of Your Body Before It Takes Control of You. Without further ado, let's bring Jonathan in. Let's see. Hey, where are you, sir? How are you?
I'm right here.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you so much for the introduction. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'm just excited to be on with you today. Thank you so much.
And share with our viewers and listeners, where are you joining me from today?
I am joining you from beautiful Reno, Nevada.
Yeah. Is it still beautiful out there? What kind of weather are you guys having right now this time of year?
As of today, well, this is the best time of year right after the end of fall, going into winter. The weather is beautiful. As a matter of fact, today is a beautiful day, and so it's great weather right now. Great time.
Fantastic. So, Jonathan, like with many of our guests and many people that I interview in this space, you start with, and we're going to start with your personal story, your journey with weight and health and all of that. Uh, can you tell our listeners and viewers in your own words?
Yeah, sure. I've been, I grew up, I think like most people, with, outside a lot, running, always was in good physical condition. That was long before computers and the internet and all that good stuff. So we were outside playing and never really thought about my weight or gaining weight or that type of thing. And so it really didn't get real for me until I got a little bit older. After I graduated from college, I came home and um, was working in the industry, in the gaming industry. And my mom had been battling obesity for years, and I had started to put on weight. And it always was, well, I think I can always lose this. And it really didn't really become real to me until I started putting on a lot of weight. And
Yeah.
I started to think about my own health when my daughter was born. And it really started asking the question of why can't I get past this? What is preventing me from being able to lose this weight? Well, when my mother in 2000, December of 2013, she had a wound that would not heal,
Mhm.
and she had been on blood thinners for other health conditions, and so a few months later we had to put her into a rehabilitation center. And I was writing her these motivational notes saying, "Hey, mom, you can do this. You can. I'm going to help you. I'll help you lose the weight." But then I was looking at myself saying, "I'm 300 pounds. Why is she going to listen to me?" And then I was sitting in my office at work, and this tingling sensation started on the left side of my body, from my left foot all the way up. I remember it tingling to the left side of my lips. I ran to the bathroom, threw water on my face. A few minutes later, I felt fine. I went to the doctor. The doctor said I was fine. But Dr. Barnes, I was not fine. In my mind, I was like, this has got to be because I'm carrying so much weight. And I was
Yeah.
just, and that's when the self-shaming and the anger really started and the hopelessness. But at the same time, I was still trying to motivate my mom, which was an interesting, dynamic with me trying to go through this. So I continued to write this notes. Fast forward in April of 2014, she told me it's not going to help me. My body is winning this battle. Please don't follow in my footsteps. That was my last good conversation with her. And then June of
Oh,
2014, she passed away. And so after she passed away, even during this process, I kept wondering, why can't we change our lifestyle behavior even when we know it's going to change our life? What is so hard about this? And so I sat at that point in my life, I said, I'm going to answer this question for me. Uh, it really started with just to help myself and to help my family and to help others. And so that's what really started that journey of
yeah.
me being obsessed with this and really looking to find a solution.
And I totally identify with your story about how, you started to gain weight, but you really thought to yourself, it's really not that big of a deal. All I have to do is eat less and exercise
Mhm,
more, and I can lose the weight when I want to. But then there comes a point where it's like the point of no return, and that's exactly how I felt. And all of a sudden, I did exercise and eat less, and nothing happened.
mhm.
It was just kind of like, oh my gosh, what have I done, and why am I so stuck?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, when that happened to me, what really prevented me from moving forward is I got this sense of hopelessness. I got this
Yeah.
sense that this is never going to change. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. It's never going to change. And I just felt like, even though I was having success in my professional life, I felt like a complete failure because I could not get past this. And,
Mhm.
and, and so really the mental side of me really started to take control of my life, and everyday reminders that I was carrying this weight, whether it was looking in the mirror, putting on clothes, or being asked to attend certain things where I was nervous about the way I would look. All of those feelings started to pierce every part of my life,
Yeah.
and that's when I realized I have got to change. I can't live like this.
Yeah, and so you asked the question while you were talking earlier, and I'm sure there's no easy one-word answer or what have you, but why is lifestyle behavior change so hard to accomplish? What is it about lifestyle behavior?
Well, before I started this journey, that question would have been harder for me to answer, but I can answer after everything I've done. I can tell you that it is different for different folks, but here's the real answer. When there have been studies done that say that your behavior, 40 to 43% of your behavior is generated by habits. Some studies even put as much as 70%. And the
Wow.
habits guide your behavior, guide your decisions, sometimes guide what you're going to say. And a lot of habits are automatic where you don't even
Yep.
realize that you're doing them. And there's other
Yep.
habits, which I call justification habits, meaning that you know it's a decision that you shouldn't make, but you immediately start to rationalize saying, well, I'll work out tomorrow, or I had a bad day today. I deserve to eat this, or I don't have anything at home. So even though you're aware that you're making a decision that's not good for you, but you immediately start to justify so you can get to that reward. And so with
Wow.
those types of things guiding your behavior, it is very hard then all of a sudden say, well, tomorrow I'm just going to do something different, because it involves changing your behavior, changing your habits, um, changing the things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, but you've gotten the habit of doing. And so,
Yep.
really, that's why it's so difficult, because we have comfort in our habits. We have comfort in the things that we do every day. And sometimes that's good, because if you drive a car, you don't have to think about all the different things you have to drive a car. If you brush your teeth, you don't have to think about all the things you have to do to brush your teeth or sit in a chair. But when it comes to things you want to change, it becomes very, very difficult. And so that's why it's very hard. It has nothing to do with your willpower or that you're not a good person or
Mm.
bad person. It's just
Mm.
focusing on those things. And that's why it's very difficult to change your lifestyle behavior.
Wow. Justification habits, that's mind blowing. And actually, in all the research that I did and the materials you sent, I hadn't seen that yet.
Mhm.
That is a powerful concept. And I deal with it personally. I coach with my clients. They deal with it all the time. That's a fascinating look at that.
And what drives a lot of justification habits is adversity. So a lot of times you're making that justification to get to that reward, or that your action, because of the adversity you feel. I feel stressed. I feel financial pressure. I'm ashamed of my whatever the case may be. So you immediately go to, okay, how do I relieve myself of this? And
Yeah,
typically
yeah, yeah.
it's let me justify why I deserve to make that decision. In my case, to eat what I want to eat, because it's going to give me that reward. And I'll work out tomorrow. This is the last time. I don't have food at home. And so usually the adversity is what drives you to make those types of decisions, or justify making you feel good about a decision that you know you shouldn't make.
That wow. Dang. That really hits home on so many different levels. So I love the fact that you say, I love the fact that you say that lifestyle change does not actually begin with diet and exercise. And
It
and
doesn't.
I truly love this statement. So if it doesn't, where does it begin?
Well, and the reason why it doesn't begin with diet and exercise is because the things that stop you from exercising and diet are typically your habits, the adversity, the mental challenges that you have. I don't feel like doing this today. I'm not going to be successful. I don't know what to do. I'm overwhelmed. I don't have time. All of those things are the things that stop you from really doing your diet, doing your exercise. And so, really, where it starts with is developing a plan to deal with those thoughts and to deal with that adversity that's going to rise up and say, you can't do this. You shouldn't do this. This should not be a part of your life. And so you've got to deal with that first, because if that beast takes you over, you will quit long before diet and exercise have any chance of working for you. So we attack that beast first and have a plan for when that rises up. And so that's where it really starts.
And this is why I really love having you on the show, and why when I saw your materials, et cetera, I thought this is such a perfect fit. With our program, our ideal protein program, we've got the diet and the exercise part taken care of.
Mhm.
And we've long known that the secret sauce, the magic to success, is having a plan, but having a coach and
Yes,
having someone that you meet with on a regular basis, because of just exactly what you said. And I really feel like, both our clients, our dieters, and our coaches in the program really can benefit from what you have to say, from your books, from your course coming up. We'll talk about that later. But this is truly, eh, the, the nutrition is just it's a plan,
it
and
is.
it'll work. But the thing that stops everybody, the thing that gets in everybody's way, it's what's going on between those 2 ears.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, physically, to make a physical transformation, moving your body and what you put inside your body obviously is going to make the difference, right? I mean, to make a physical transformation, But what people struggle with is what we just discussed. And so really focusing your time on that, developing a timer on that. When you, for example, when you look in the mirror, and what I didn't say, I'll never be able to do this, then your
Yeah.
plan is, okay, I'm going to have my counter thought ready. I'm going to have my counter thought ready that says, I call it the countermeasure. And one of the steps
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
identify your countermeasures. So my countermeasure is, okay, stop. We're not going there today. You did a 5-minute walk. Think about what's going on inside your body. Yesterday was a good day. Just all those positive affirmations, which start at first, you feel like they're not going to work, but you try that every single day and just have that countermeasure ready. When that thought
Mhm.
comes in, you're ready to counter it with something else. And then eventually it starts to work for you. And then guess what? You start to see progress because don't have those thoughts in your head that are going to stop you from executing the plan that you've outlined for yourself.
I love that. And I'm going to bring you back to that during the show because there are a
Okay.
number of different scenarios that we coach like all the time. And I'm going to say, hey, what would be a great countermeasure for this? Because I
Yes,
just, that is, you have to prepare and plan for these things,
you
right?
do.
So you like to set a foundation as you're starting with clients and you're starting to try to help them with this lifestyle change. And what's the first thing that has to happen for people as they are attempting this?
Well, you said the best word. You said you have to build a foundation, and you're absolutely right. Just like a strong house has to have a foundation, anytime you want to do lifestyle change, you have to have a foundation that you can always go back to, that everything builds off on. And so the very first step in building the foundation is being aware that you have a problem to solve and then acknowledging it. And so it might sound, well, of course I have a problem to solve, but a lot of people
Right.
aren't aware that they have a problem to solve. I mean, when I was earlier, I mentioned, well, I was worried about the weight, but not really worried about it. It got on my radar a little bit, but not to the point where I was concerned later in life. But I had a problem to solve then, and I didn't acknowledge it. And so that's because you can't solve a problem unless you're aware,
Yeah.
acknowledge you have a problem to solve. It sounds very simple, but that's where you start.
And so is that problem different for different people? Is that problem, I have to solve this weight problem? Or can you
Well, that's
expound
step
on that a
2.
little
So
bit?
that would be step 2. The first step is having a sense of awareness, I have a problem to solve. The second step is know exactly what your problem is. So,
Okay.
because you could focus on the wrong thing. So in my case, my
Yeah.
example
Yeah.
was my problem to solve was when I got off of work, I looked every time I got off of work, I would look for an excuse to relieve the stress, and I looked for an excuse to always, when I was driving home, look for something that I enjoyed to eat. And
Yeah.
I would binge eat at night, and it was always at night. And
Mhm.
I got in this habit of justifying the decision that I made to eat something that wasn't good for me, and I related it back to my job stress. And so I had to identify that is wasn't the only one, but that was the main one. Exactly what my problem is. So I recognized I had a problem. The second thing is I know exactly what my problem is. Those two things alone will really make you start to feel better about creating a plan for yourself.
And so the problem isn't the weight itself. The problem is what is happening in your life that has gotten you in this situation in the first place and is keeping you there.
That's exactly right. The weight is the
Yeah.
result. But the actual problem is the decisions that you've made that have led to that result. So if you focus on solving that problem, then the weight will take care of itself. And that's why if we have time today, we'll talk about you should never make losing 20 pounds your goal because you have no control over whether you lose 20 pounds but your goal should be I'm gonna make goals that I have 100% control over. I have 100% control over if I decide to walk instead of sit on the couch. I have 100% control over. I'm going to create positive affirmations when I feel so. Have part of changing your lifestyle is focusing on things that you can control rather than things you can't control. So, uh, acknowledge you have a problem to solve, knowing exactly what the problem is, or things that you have control over, and starting there.
Yeah. 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 And again, you are 100% in control over where you stop between work and home,
That's exactly right.
right?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Right?
But you
Yeah.
have to get to the root of why you're stopping, and so that's what I really
Yeah.
focus on.
Right. 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 And I think a lot of people don't do that hard work. A lot of people are eh, for some people that work is kind of scary.
It is kind of scary because part of it, the reason why it's scary in my working with people and talking to people is because One, you don't think you want quick results. You want to be able to
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm going to start tomorrow, and in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to have lost 7 pounds. And we focus on that sort of progress rather than the progress of, I used to eat 5 bad meals a day. Now I only eat two. Or I have 2 good meals and I have 3 bad meals. That's a hell of a thing to celebrate. Instead of wanting to go to the gym for 2 hours, I walked 10 minutes today when I normally would not have. That's a hell of a thing to
Right.
celebrate. And so when you start focusing on those type of celebrations, then it doesn't become as daunting to say, I'm going to have to lose 70 pounds or I'm going to have to change my whole lifestyle.
Mhm.
No, just
Yep.
start with these
Yep.
small things. And believe me, your confidence will grow. You'll feel capable. You'll feel good about yourself and you'll want more and more and more.
Yeah, I love that. You get on a roll, you get some momentum working.
Absolutely.
And so, okay, so we acknowledge we've got a problem. We've identified what that problem is, and we're still stuck.
So
What's the next
the next
step?
thing is to know your why. Your why is one of the most powerful things you could do. The why is more than just, hey, I want to lose weight. Your why is your deep reason for why you want to change your lifestyle. What is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to change, in my case, I want to change my lifestyle because I want to be there for my daughter. I want to live a healthy life. I don't want to live with this shame, this hopelessness. It goes really deep as to what's your why. And your why is so important all the way throughout your lifestyle journey. That is number three. And spend some time on that because that is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, that is something that we have definitely worked with clients about. And it's funny because it's kind of during our initial consultation, getting to know the person and you kind of ask them, well, why? What is your why for doing this?
Right.
And a lot of times they give you a blank stare because they haven't thought about it that deeply,
That's right.
right? And then
Right.
you get the obligatory, well, I want to be healthier. I'm like, okay, I get that, right? But it's not sexy enough. Like it's not strong enough to
That's right.
motivate you when the going gets tough, right?
That's exactly. Yes. Yes.
Everybody wants to be healthier, right?
Yes.
But why? Like
Why?
what is and I wanted and I love that in your 432 playbook that you shared with me, which I really, really appreciate. You actually have your why written in here. Can I read that?
Yeah,
Can I
sure,
read that?
absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah. So Jonathan's why. And you have the other thing too, I think it's a really great point is to write it out,
Yes.
to actually
Yes.
physically have that why that you can refer back to and spend some time with it. So Jonathan says, I want to stop eating unhealthy food, especially binge eating at night, which is causing my obesity because I want to be present in my daughter's life, not just watching from the sidelines. I'm tired of feeling like my body is holding me back from life. I want to live because of my decisions I am making. I am tired of the mental pain I suffer from when I overeat. I want to beat obesity to feel physically healthy, confident, energized, and mentally free. I'm going to solve this problem because I deserve it and because my health is not just about me. It impacts everyone I love. This matters to me because it is about the future I want to have. I want to become a healthy person. A lot of thought and time went into that,
It did.
right?
It did as matter. It went a lot of time, um, because it was from the heart. It was what I truly felt. I remember when I wrote that, I took a moment to myself and I was asking
Yeah.
myself those questions. What do you want out of life? Um, and at that time when I wrote that, I wasn't quite sure of everything I had to do to get there. I just knew that that was
Yeah.
something that all those things were so important to me to live, and not just to live, but to live, to be present, as I wrote. And so I didn't realize at the time I wrote that how powerful that was going to be in my lifestyle journey and how much of a best friend. And those times when you don't want to move forward, you just bring that out and read it again and read it again and read it
Yeah.
again, and it just keeps you going. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And again, I love how you shine the light on how your health and your behaviors impact those people around you that you love.
they
You
did. As
know,
a matter of fact, I made a commitment that my health was going to be the number one priority in my life. And so when I said that to people, they said, "Well, what about your daughter? What about your wife? What about?" I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
"Well, we've all heard the saying that if I don't have my health, they're not going to matter anyway because I'm not going to be here, or I'm
Right.
not going to be in a way that I can help them. So in focusing on my health, it doesn't mean I'm going to ignore them or ignore their needs. It just means the times that I would ordinarily say, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do it. Or this is a justification habit, I'm going to work on this. It just means that I'm not going to put my health to the side anymore, and I'm going to make it a priority so I can be there for the friends and family that I love.
Yeah, you know, and I deal with this so much, especially with moms, right? Uh, so many mothers, they've got that attitude, everybody before me, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
and that's how they live their lives, and they are the last person on their list, and they're doing everything for everybody else. And you know, to me, it's like, well, here's the thing, right? Like, we need to fill your cup first. Otherwise, you can't fill other people from an empty cup, and that's what you're trying to accomplish right now,
That's
right?
exactly right. Yeah, no, and I share that as well. The other thing I share, Dr. Barnes, is your body doesn't say, and this is what I had to teach you, your body doesn't say, look, mom or Jonathan, I know you're going through a lot right now. I know you're trying to take care of everybody else. I know you have all these things. So when you eat that bad food and when you don't exercise, I'll make sure that I keep your blood pressure down. I'll make sure that you don't become pre-diabetic. I'll make sure none of those things happen. Your body doesn't care. Your body
Nope.
just says responds to what you put in it and if you move it. And that's really all it cares about. So putting your health number one, it helps you to ensure that you'll be able to do those things that are important to you later in your life. And I know that's an obvious statement for people, but we
Well,
put it on the back burner, and I did for so many years. And so I'm not judging because I did that for so many years. And that's why when we get to my website, I share so many of my pictures where I was obese. And
yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, right? Like you said it earlier, when it seems like it's a selfish thought to put your health first, right?
yeah.
When in actuality, it's actually not. It's the exact opposite of that.
It is the exact opposite. That's exactly. And once people come to that realization, it's the exact opposite. All these little pieces, your why, number one, my health is number one priority. I know what I have to solve. You start to feel much more confident and capable and ready. And I'm telling you, though that momentum, that good feeling about yourself will carry you through as you go on your journey. And so that's why those things are so critical. I mean, there's two more in establishing your foundation, but those three are really, really important to get you started.
Yeah, and you know what? You bring up you already brought it up, so I think I'm going to bring it up as well. Um, One of the things that I like to do, and I use my before and after picture so that people understand that I know where they are, right?
Right.
I understand where they are. I've been there myself. And you know, we're a third of the way into the show, and I want people to truly get a sense of that. Because looking at you now, I could say, well, you know, Jonathan's never really had to lose weight. I don't, you know, he's just probably taken a course or two and that's why he's doing this. But no, that's not the case, and that's not your story. I've been on your website and I pulled down a couple of pictures,
Mhm.
not all of the pictures, but I pulled down a couple of pictures because your story is not a story of before and after. Your story is, I've taken a before picture. Oh, I'm taking another before
Yeah.
picture.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm taking another before picture, right?
Yes.
And then there was this before picture, when was this taken? Do you
So
remember?
this picture, as you can see on the USA, it's February 24th, 2014. So when I talked about that sensation that I felt in my office,
Yeah.
uh, I had my wife took this picture of me, and because I said, "Look, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start, but please take." This was 4 days after that incident happened. Please
Wow.
take this picture of me because I'm going to solve this. And my wife being a great person, she goes, the camera adds 10 pounds. I was like, yeah, but it doesn't add 70 pounds. So that you, so, but that was when that picture started, and I had I had a long ways to go before, because that was before I really focused on lifestyle change. I just
Yep.
knew
Yep.
my life had to change.
And it's just so classic too with the newspaper, so you can prove what day it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? That was always a thing in the magazines. And so, yeah, you took that before. And then if we look at this, actually, it was kind of a before and a before and oh my gosh, there's an after. Like,
It wasn't
I
after.
won. I've
There
won.
wasn't after. Yeah,
Right?
and that was That was in 2019. That was after, obviously, my mom had passed. I'd written the book. I still hadn't become a lifestyle change specialist at that time. But
Yeah.
what was really deceiving about this is I hadn't won yet because I I really focused. I hadn't really focused on the things that would prevent me from going back, and so I really
Yeah.
focused on diet and exercise, which was great, and I had great results. You can
Yeah.
see I made a change in my life,
Yeah.
but I still my habits, I mean, I still hadn't changed my lifestyle. So as soon as that adversity rose up, and as soon as those things rose up, I went back to, I have a picture of on my website in 2021. I don't know if you have that one. Yeah, I had one before that, but I went
Yep.
back in 2022. This was on my birthday, where I took this picture again. I was like you said, another before picture. But this time, when I took this picture, I have the beginning, which obviously I can't spell, as my wife tells me, 3 ends in there. But yeah, I did that myself. But
I'm
this
right there
time,
with you.
this time I was at this point. I had just passed my personal trainer certification. Um,
Okay.
I had my health coach. I was on my way to learning about, and I didn't make weight my focus. I said I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to focus on the things that really are truly going to make a change. And so
Yeah.
the after picture's coming.
Yeah, so let's shine a spotlight on that. We'll talk about it at the end too. So
Okay.
this is the final before,
It is.
right? There's no
Yes.
more befores,
There's no more
and
befores.
you literally, unbeknownst to me, in setting this up, but you literally are going to drop the after picture on November 1st on your website.
I am. I am.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
and
reason why I dropped the after picture is, I talk about don't focus on weight. However, when people come and look at your website, they want to know that there's a future there. They want to know, because at the end of the
yes,
day, you really want to change your physical appearance, and you want to change your how healthy you are. And a lot of times your body is a great way to demonstrate to folks that, hey, I am making progress. So I want to demonstrate that I took this picture, the other pictures, but if you follow lifestyle, it's not necessarily quick, a lot of fun on the way. We can talk about that too.
yeah.
But you can change your body and your health and all those good things. And so I'm going to share that on November 1st.
Yeah, so excited to see that on November 1st, and it's going to be dramatic. Here's the other thing, though. You cannot take away the fact that how you look impacts so many aspects of your life,
No question.
right?
No question.
If you are not happy with that picture, if you are not happy with yourself, it spills over into your job, it spills over into your relationships, it
Everything.
spills over into everything, right?
It does. It
And
absolutely
so
does.
as much as we don't want the number to be a focus or necessarily our looks, you have to address the fact that when you look like you wanted to, or when you are looking so much better, it does the opposite. It gives you confidence. It gives you that feeling,
It does.
right?
It is a wonderful feeling when you can look, when you show that one picture when I was pretty fit there. It is a wonderful feeling when you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, I've accomplished this, and
Yep.
the confidence that comes along with that, and the things that you don't think about anymore when you're not worried about your weight. There is no question about that. Um, but it's also just as a wonderful feeling, the journey. And if I can really impress upon people, if you can have fun during this journey,
Yeah.
and there's different ways to make it fun, as opposed to a chore. When that picture I took in 2019, that was a chore. That was dragging me across the finish line. Even though I was very happy with the results, don't get me wrong, like you
Mhm.
mentioned, but it was a chore to drag me to that finish, drag myself to the finish line. Whereas this time, it's a part of my life, and so I have no fears of ever going back. And so you're right, the physical results matter. They do, and your health matters. But also the peace of mind knowing that I'm not going to regress. This is a part of my life. This is who I am now. I'm happy living my life this way, so I don't have to worry about that. That's even more powerful.
That's yeah, that's so awesome. So let's get back to we're forming our foundation for
Right.
this journey, and we're moving forward. We know our why. We've written down our why.
Hmm.
But the challenge of it is, Jonathan, adversity comes, and it comes in two different forms, right? It comes internally and it comes externally.
That's
So
right.
how can I use that why to deal with this? What are my tools to deal with this adversity?
Well, probably the biggest tool obviously is the why. The way I well, let's take internally and externally. Internally, to me, is probably the what we focus on first, is because if you can build your internal strength, when we say internal strength, meaning that your voice is the strongest voice, guiding you, directing you, building you, picking yourself up. If your voice is the strongest voice, then it is much easier to deal with, not easy, but much easier to deal with the external adversity that comes along. Because just like there's always going to be death and taxes, there's always going to be adversity to deal with. So the first
Yep.
thing to focus on, which the 432 does, let's build your internal countermeasures, your internal strength, because the internal, I'm sorry, because when the external adversity comes, like maybe you have a family member that doesn't support you, or you have a job that you're stressed out at doesn't support you, or your environment is hard to change. When you are strong internally, you will always look for ways to overcome those external barriers. And so the eternal strength is powerful. And so I give you a great example of eternal strength. One of the things that people struggle with is we talk about the sense of hopelessness. I
Yeah.
can't do this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have low self-esteem. So one of the things to overcome that internal adversity is focus on your superpowers. Everybody has superpowers. Superpower is something that you are good at. I mean, it's natural to you, or you developed a skill you are good at, even if it has nothing to do with lifestyle or weight loss. Because
Yeah.
once you focus on something you're good at, get a goal around that, it builds your self-confidence. You are capable. I can do this. I can overcome this. And once you know your superpowers, then your self-esteem, your self-confidence grows, and it builds that momentum to be able to take on anything. And so that's what I really focus on as far as internal adversity. Know your superpowers. We talked about countermeasures. When that adversity attacks, what's going to be your countermeasure? When
Yeah.
adversity rises up and says, Jonathan, you can't do this. Yes, I can. Here's my why. My why is the reason why. Here's my plan. Adversity, I'm going to kick your butt. Family version. I'm going to kick your butt.
There
And
you go.
so all of that superpowers, knowing your why, countermeasures, builds up that internal strength. So then when you want to walk 10 minutes and your environment's not right, all your internal strength is so strong, you're going to walk that 10 minutes. Doesn't matter who's in your way, what's in your way. This is really important to me because your internal strength is strong.
I love that so much. And I was going through that superpowers section, one of my friends, Sonia Jones, an amazing, amazing coach in this area, in this space, she always talks about, people are successful at so many things, right? Like you said, you were successful in your job, right? Or somebody is successful as a mom, but why they don't expect success when it
Right.
comes to weight loss or to lifestyle change. This is one area where people just seem like they're a little bit more helpless than other areas in your life. And I love how you put that, how look, you're successful in this place, expect success here too.
That's right. That's right. And when you reinforce that, so you can say that, but when you reinforce it by just a small task hey, I know I'm good at, as example, I know I'm very good at uh, um, knowing compartmentalizing stress. For example, I have a client that's really good at compartmentalizing the stress they have about one particular issue. They can let that go while they focus on something else. So I
Hmm.
said, we'll dig into that. Set up something, a goal where you emphasize that, where you reinforce that superpower. Because once you realize how good you are at being able to compartmentalize something and stay focused, even when you have internal noise around you, then let that confidence build. But then your lifestyle journey won't seem as daunting. And just keep
Yeah.
tapping into that, reinforcing that. And so that's really what we focus on. And those are some of the things you won't read about necessarily because it's not, hey, eat this, don't eat this, work out this, do this exercise.
Right, right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think a lot of times, and this is where the coach actually comes into play, but I think a lot of times people deep down don't believe they can solve their problem. Deep
Right.
down, and can you speak to this concept?
Yeah, that's part of the first 5 steps of building a foundation. The first one prior to that, is the fact that you have to be ready to take action. And then once you're ready to take action, you have to believe that you can solve your problem. But one of the things I say is you don't have to have 100% belief, because it, in my experience, it's not realistic to think, okay, I've dealt with obesity for all these years, and I've tried and I've failed, I've tried and I've failed. I'm going to have 100% confidence in myself that I can solve this. You just need to leave the door open that you can solve this, that you can do this. And why leave the door open? Because the more momentum you build, the more you start to see your progress, the more the belief that you can solve this problem is going to start building and building and building. And so just leave the door open that you can solve this.
Uh,
Don't put the pressure on yourself
yeah.
that I have 100%, I'm going to do this right now. Don't do that to
Okay.
yourself. Just leave the door open. Hey, okay, I'll leave the door open and trust these different factors that are going to keep boosting you up to know that you can solve your problem. But at this point, you at least got to leave the door open, because if you don't believe you
Yeah.
can solve it, then you're never going to solve it. So
Right.
you got to leave
Right.
the door open.
Yeah. And I had them out of order, but still, I think I think a lot of people underscore this one, but you have to be ready to actually take action.
That's right.
I have so many people that want to, oh, I want to lose weight, or oh, I want to change my, but you actually have to be ready to take steps and take action.
Yeah, and to take action means it's just going to sound obvious. Well, that means I'm ready to go. But we've all talked to people that will say, I'm not, I can't do this. I'm not ready to, I know I have to do this, but I've got work, I've got this. So you have to be ready to say, I'm ready to make a change. I may not know all the things to do yet, but I'm ready to
Yeah.
take action. So if you're
Yeah.
ready to take action and you leave the door open yeah, I know I can do this, think how powerful that is. And that's before you even probably stepped on a treadmill. I mean,
Yeah.
you've built your 5 steps. You know your why. You're ready to take action. You believe that you can. You know the problem you have to solve. You're aware. You've built a strong foundation that now you can use that to move forward with your lifestyle change.
I love that. And I saw it in my own story as well. Um, uh, I found out about this program. I actually dramatically had a patient of mine lose 70 pounds doing our nutrition program, that I had no idea
Congratulations.
what it was. And I was kind of like, oh my gosh, as soon as I found out about the program, I knew I needed to do it. But it's like, oh, but it's the holidays, or, oh, I've got this, or, oh, and there's always going to be that thing, right? And it kind of goes along with justification,
That's
but
exactly right.
there's always going to be that thing that's going to, keep me from taking action.
That
And
there's
finally, I tell you, my breaking point actually was when I had to hold my breath to tie my shoes. That was
yeah.
I vividly remember when that actually flipped the switch in my brain. And I was just like, I don't care what's coming up next. I have got to take action.
That was your aha moment where you said this was it.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it any longer. I was just like, oh my God. Uh, yeah.
I,
Yeah.
and
And
that's
so
powerful. And that's
and
powerful.
people have to get to that place before they're ready to go.
Yeah, they have to. You're right. They have to get to that place, and when they get to that place, then that's when when they start developing their plan, they're going to come from a place of strength rather than a place of fear or weakness or frustration or feel like I have to do it. And that's the reason why you yo-yo is because, hey, if I have to do this, it's a chore rather than I built a foundation. These things are going to pull me through. It's a lot easier to see success, visualize success, and to know that you'll never go back. And so when you
Yeah.
build a foundation, it's a lot easier to see yourself being successful in the journey and lasting a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start on this journey, though, you have to expect some speed bumps and some setbacks,
Mhm.
right? And I wanted to tell you, this is a big part of what you teach. I wanted you to talk a little bit about self-compassion, self-forgiveness.
Yeah, that is probably one of the most important. I mean, it's all important, but that is probably one of the most important. I get a little emotional thinking about it because when you showed that picture, taking that picture of me, when my wife took that picture, even though she was making the joke with the camera, that was probably the most ashamed that I'd ever
Mm.
been.
Hmm.
Um, and I had a daughter, and I was just ashamed of myself. Like I have a daughter, I want to be here, and how did this happen? And I'm an educated person, and I was
Yep.
so angry with myself. And then that's when maybe not at that moment, But that's when I realized the importance of you got to forgive yourself. You got to forgive yourself and just realize life happens. You're not perfect. Things happen to you in your life, and forgive yourself for the choices you made, or maybe or it could be somebody else that put you in that situation. But you have to forgive, and you've got to show yourself some compassion. That's not for an excuse, but give
Right.
yourself a break. Understand that you're going to fall off. Every day is not going to be a great day. Nobody stays 100% motivated 100% of the time. And it's really important to show yourself that grace. Like if you had a best friend and they were going through something, you wouldn't say, you're a loser. I don't know why you're trying. You should just give up. You wouldn't say those things. What you would say is,
Yeah.
you can do this. I'm here for you. I love you. I'll do anything I can to help you. Say those words to yourself. And
Yeah.
you'll know the power of self-compassion, and it works. It doesn't necessarily work the first time. You just have to
Hmm.
continue once you have that mindset. And then when you
Hmm.
do fall off, or you do have a bad meal, or whatever the case may be, or you do something that you're not proud of, you remember to take a breath and say, okay, learn from it, move forward from it, forgive yourself, and have that compassion, and you will feel so much better about yourself.
When you said earlier, if your voice is the loudest voice in your head, that you'll be successful. But so many times so far, the voice in our head has been the one that says, "You can't do this.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
What are you thinking?" Right? And so it's training this voice. It's training this to be the loudest voice in your head.
That's right. That's right. And when you give your voice forgiveness and self-compassion, then your voice becomes stronger. It becomes like we talk about that eternal adversity. That's another check mark that says, "Hey, when this adversity hits, my voice is strong now because I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to feel ashamed." And your
Yeah,
mindset starts to change, and it works. We just have to take these steps to get ourselves there.
and the repetition of
The
doing that.
repetition. And those are
Yeah,
that's exactly how habits are built. Uh, Creating those new neural pathways of just like you can create a neural pathway that says I'm a loser, you can create a neural pathway that says no, I'm not. I am a successful person and I'm going to conquer this. You can create a neural pathway that you reinforce in your brain, that when adversity hits, that's the neural pathway your brain takes you down.
there's a concept in the playbook, and that concept is emotional pounds.
Yes.
Can you can you talk to us about what are emotional pounds?
Emotional pain. So we have physical weight. A lot of times we focus on our physical weight. I'm 20 pounds overweight. I'm obese. But we don't focus on the emotional pounds. The emotional pounds is a weight that you carry, that is mental weight. So we talked a little about hopelessness. I can never do this. I don't believe in myself. I have low self-esteem. Uh, I have a bad family life. The adversity that we carry in our head, the emotional pounds that stop us from that are going to rise up and say, Jonathan, what were you thinking? I know you want to change your lifestyle, but you have this going on in your life. You have this going on in your life. You have this adversity going on in your life. Just stop, because you'll never do this. The emotional pounds is that weight that is preventing you from moving forward, and it lies inside your mental thoughts, uh, inside your brain, and has you think in a way that you'll never be successful. And so that's what I
And
call
we've
emotional
got to
pounds.
work on losing, and we've got to lose those pounds to be
You
successful
do.
losing the other pounds.
Yeah, and so it's two ways to lose an emotional power. Well, there's more than two ways. Two strategies, I should say. The first strategy, obviously, is um, to address the underlying problem. Now, that could take a long time, because the underlying problem could be something in your past. It could be something that's very painful that you don't like to talk about. It could be a lot of things that just aren't solvable in a week or 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So what do
Yep.
you do in the meantime? Well, in the meantime, we talk about doing countermeasures. So one of the things that I did was I call it the distract strategy. And here's what the distract strategy says. I'm going through, let me set up a scenario. I'm going through work. I come off of work and my boss says something to me, maybe he threatens my job. I, and I'm just stressed out because I can't afford to lose my job. I feel the stress of that. And so in my current habit, I would find a way to solve that by eating food. Well, the
Yep.
distract strategy comes in and says, okay, you already have the strategy. Rather than eating food, I'm going to call a friend. I'm going to call a friend and have them talk me off the ledge. So you already have this pre-baked in. I'm going to call Dr. Barnes and say, I got threatened at work. I'm upset. I feel like eating. please talk me off the ledge. That's your
Yeah.
strategy that you already know you're going to go to, rather than go down the way of eating. The reason why I call it distract is because it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't solve the
Yeah.
underlying issue that you want to eat. But what it does is it distracts you from making a bad decision in that moment. And in that moment, if it distracts you from making a bad decision in that moment, then you've won. If you can just get through that moment, get through
Yeah.
that day, and where you don't make that bad decision and you wake up the next day maybe a little bit stronger, then you've distracted yourself from being able to, from going down this path of eating and eating and eating. So that's why I call it the distract strategy. It
Got
doesn't,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's absolutely awesome. You've touched on it many times, and I know that you mentioned it in some of the research that I've been doing. You reference atomic habits a lot,
Yes.
and talk us about starting good habits and stopping bad habits. Um,
Well,
take us through this.
what got me started in this is I've read a lot of books on habits and done a lot of research. But really, what got me started was, well, when I mentioned earlier that 40 to 45% of our behaviors are caused by our habits. What is a habit? I mean, what is a habit? What causes it? That's where I started. Was, what is a habit? And when I say stop bad habits, what does that mean? And so, really, you start with I started there. And once I understood what a habit was, meaning that there's a trigger, usually there's a trigger that starts with a habit, the trigger, then there's a desire. You get triggered, the desire, a response, which is actually what the habit is, and there's always a reward. So a simple example
Yeah.
is you walk into your house, it's dark, that's the trigger, the reward, the desire is I want to see, the response is I turn on the light switch, and the reward is I can see. And so that becomes automatic. Anytime you get triggered that is dark, I'm looking for a light switch. And
Yep.
so once you understand the components of a habit, then it's much easier to attack them. So, for example, if you might not always be able to change your trigger, and you may not always be able to change your desire, but your response of how you respond to it. So, like, I'm going to focus, I'm not going to focus on the trigger, meaning that the trigger is my stress at work. Right now, I can't change that. I can't change the desire that I want to relax after work. Okay, fine. But my response, I'll work on my response. Instead of eating, I'll call a friend. I'll go on a walk. I'll do whatever it takes. And then the reward is still the same, meaning that I feel relaxed. So if you break down the habit in its basic components, you can pick what you want to focus on. For some people, they may be able to change the trigger. The trigger is
Mm,
this person in my life is causing me to think these thoughts. Well, I will pick different friends. That may or may not be easy, but I want to focus on the trigger, or I want to focus on the reward, or whatever the case may be. But once you
yeah.
understand the things that go into a habit, it's much easier to focus on it. And so that's where I started, was breaking down the components of a habit. The second part of that is knowing James Clear in his book Atomic Habits, knowing the person that you want to become. Because once you
Uh,
want to know the person you want to become, it's much easier to identify the habits that you want to start, the habits you want to stop, and the behaviors that you have now that you need to change, and the new behaviors you need to introduce. So your why helps you with that. I want to become the healthiest 59-year-old person on the planet. That is the person I want to become. Well, then, in order to support that goal, it's much clearer to me the habits that I need to change and start in order to do that. And then if I know what a habit is and the different components, then I know which parts to attack. And so really that in a brief way, that's how we really start good habits, stopping bad habits. It doesn't
yeah.
happen with
Yeah.
willpower. It never happens.
Right.
Well, some maybe with some people, but usually you can't just say, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to do something different. For most people, that doesn't work.
Yeah, you have to actually, it has to be an intentional plan, or like you said, countermeasures, et cetera, that you put into place,
It is
right?
an intentional plan that has strategies that allow
Yep.
you to move forward, rather than just saying, I'm going to do this. Just stop doing this or start doing this. That almost never works. It almost
Yeah.
never works.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of times when we talk about lifestyle behavior change, people think that that's just going to make me boring, or it's just going to be, it's going to, my life is going to be dull if I change my habits. How give us an example of how can we make this fun? What kind of things do you work with people on
Yeah, I love
making
this question.
lifestyle changes fun?
I absolutely love this question because people think it's impossible to deal with them. And you're looking at a person who's been dealing with obesity for years, and this last lifestyle journey, I had a lot of fun. I just want to tell you a quick story. My wife
Yeah.
and her partner started a business, dyslexia tutoring business, where they
Okay.
tutor kids that have dyslexia, and it started with my daughter. And so when they start working with these kids, when they first come in to their on day one, they have low self-esteem because they can't read. And a lot of times I've seen it, a lot of times their head are looking down, they're embarrassed, they don't want to come, they don't want to be in front of anybody because they don't want to read. And the program that my wife and her partner use is about 2 to 3 years before they've actually don't solve dyslexia, but where they're at see the significant where they don't need the program anymore, basically.
Okay.
However, 2, 3 months in, these kids light up. They want to read. They're coming back because of the program. 2, 3 months in, they are just having a blast. That their faces light up when they want to come to tutoring. Why? Because they see that they're capable. They see the progress. They see light at the end of the tunnel. They realize that, man, I can do this. I believe in myself. All of these
Yeah.
things start happening,
Yeah.
and they're having a great time. Well, why not take that same concept
Yep.
to when you're overcoming obesity? And so, what's really important about that is look for progress where you typically don't think about progress. For example, I had a bad day today. I ate a bunch of stuff, but I forgave myself. I showed myself self compassion. That's progress. I would normally sit on the couch for 2 hours after I got home. This time I only sat for an hour and 30 minutes. The other 30 minutes I got up and walked around. That's progress. I normally would be stressed out of work and I would eat bad food. This time I didn't. I wanted to. I was almost there, but I decided not to. I ate something that I wanted. That's progress. So if you look for progress in ways and in behavior that typically you would not have done, but that we
Yeah.
don't normally celebrate,
Yeah.
that's when it
Yeah.
starts to become fun because you say, man, I am making progress. I'm seeing change. And when you can visualize yourself 2, 3 months from now, and you can visualize your life because of the behaviors that you're doing today, that's when you're having a good time. That's when you're having a good time.
Absolutely.
And that's when you never go back.
Wow. So powerful. Jonathan, I can tell this is a passion for you.
It is, it is, it is, it is
Right?
very much. I know I'm sweating from before. I'm getting excited. I feel like I'm going to come through the computer talking to you, but I just love this so much because I know, like you said earlier, it pierces every part of your life. If you are obese, you cannot ever get away from thinking about it. You
Yeah.
can't ever get away from thinking about your health, being scared if you're going to be here, the social shame, the personal shame. And that's why I post so many pictures on my website of me obese because I
Yeah.
want people to understand. I know how painful and how hard it is, but there's a way to live a wonderful life, and not at the end, but as you're on your journey.
Yeah. 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 I love that. It's about the journey, not the destination.
That's exactly right. Great quote. Great quote.
Fantastic. So let's tell our listeners and viewers as we're wrapping things up.
Okay.
If you've inspired them with some of the concepts that you have, some of the words that you've said, they can take a deeper dive and actually you've got resources for them to use, and the website to go to find these resources is youcanbeatobesity.com. Can
That
you
is
tell us
correct.
what kind of opportunities you might have to be able to help people?
Well, so on my website, the book that I wrote, I promised my mom. Well, my mom passed away before I finished the book, but I would always share that information with people. I self-published the book. I've hired a book coach, and but it's all I offer the ebook version for free because it's not anything I ever wanted to profit from. It's something I want to share with people in my journey and the things that I think they can do to help themselves. I also have started a blog where they provide their email address. They will get the blog, and I will write. Or they can go on my LinkedIn account. I post a lot of the blogs there as well too, where they
Yes,
can
I will
read.
say, I just wanted to
They
say,
can read
yeah,
that.
if you're on LinkedIn, find Jonathan on LinkedIn, and you've published two of those already.
Yeah, and I have a third
From
one
the
up now that talks about the importance of. So once a week, try to put
Okay,
something out there as well. And then
yeah,
in November next month, November 10th, I've been working on a course for the last couple of years. Uh, called the 432 Playbook. And what it is it is a program that when you are done with this course, you have your own customized lifestyle behavior change program that you can use, cater to you, meeting where you are, where it talks about habits, building your lifestyle change program. We talk about nutrition only as how important it is to
Yeah.
how your body and nutrition work together, that you don't have to do 2 hours in the gym. But when you walk away, it's your own personalized plan of how you can
Wow.
change your lifestyle. It's personalized to you. And so that'll be
Yeah.
available November 10th. And for your listeners, since it's a brand new course, I'm going to offer 50% off for anyone that wants to try the course, take the course, and give me the feedback, and I'll be with them every step of the way during the process.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. That's so generous of you to do. We were talking about that before the show. I just thank you. I really appreciate that.
No, you're
Um,
welcome.
like I said, I feel that your coaching and your concepts and your teaching fits very, very. We've got the nutrition down with our program, and so that's
That's right.
that's not the question. It's getting that extra added coaching, that extra added mindset, and that I think would be so valuable for people and our coaches in the program. Coaches learn from this coach, right?
That's right. That's right.
Your experience, your credentials, and everything make you a great coach's coach, and I think that they would definitely benefit from going through that too.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, yeah, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Jonathan. I'm so happy that we've had this opportunity to have you on your show. You've said some amazing things. It's going to be one of those shows that I go back and listen to again and actually take notes from. It doesn't happen every time, but this has been a very, very powerful conversation.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the opportunity. I never thought when you put that picture of me that one in 2014 that I would ever be on a
Yeah,
show talking about this. And if there's just one
yeah,
person that's out there listening that says, "Hey, I'm dealing with obesity, and this really helped me take one step forward," then I've made my mom proud, and that's always going to be important to me as she shared her life with me.
sure, absolutely.
Any of
Thank
your
you so much.
listeners, if they want to take advantage of it, they go to youcanbeatobesity.com/life possible, and that's where
Yeah, there's actually going to
the
be
offer.
a special landing page for
Mhm.
that.
And they
We
can
will
reach
go
out
ahead.
to me and listen. I'll respond to folks, talk to people because this is important to me
Yeah.
to help people through this process. And it's all about, like I said, lifestyle, behavior change, and having fun, and enjoying your life.
Yeah, absolutely. We will go ahead and put that link in the show notes and
Okay.
have that available so that people can follow that and hopefully get in touch with you. Thank you again, Jonathan. I'm going to put you backstage real quick. Hang
All
out there
right.
for me while I land this plane.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you enjoyed this show. Like I said, I feel like this is another one that you might want to listen to over and over. Take some notes. Man, I feel like you can go back and if you don't have a why, if you don't have a written why, please listen to that section again. Write down your why. Start thinking about those countermeasures. How many of those, how many times do you come up against situations that are going to knock you off plan, knock you off your path, and have now you can create countermeasures to those opportunities. So many great things. So thank you again for joining us. Like I said, stay tuned. We're hopefully going to stay on schedule here with our shows. I've got some more amazing guests coming up. So as I like to say, um, keep striving, keep thriving, and keep reaching for your life possible.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Life Possible podcast, where we unlock the power of metabolic health to fuel your best life. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and download the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if this message resonated with you, share it to someone who needs to hear it. Let's spread the power of life possible together. For more inspiration, insights, and exclusive content, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thanks for tuning in. Keep striving, keep thriving, and remember, your best life is within reach.